More than 200 African migrants have scaled the border fence into the Spanish enclave of Melilla. The new arrivals, many from Cameroon and Guinea, headed towards the migrant reception centre.
I was begging. The official literally looked me in my eye and said in his language, only Ukrainians, that's all. That if you are black, you should walk.
Do not move to the UK, the US, Europe, Canada, Australia, the collective West. Do not move there.
How different is work in Canada compared to work in Nigeria?
Canada doesn't program you to work and enjoy your work.
Have you faced any sort of discrimination?
Don't come to Canada if you are stable back home. It's not worth it.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to make this video because I got one of the comments from you guys talking about what do I think of YouTubers talking about immigration to Canada. I'm somebody who advocates for the diaspora like us living abroad to come back to Africa. This is really a much needed conversation that has to be discussed. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. If you guys are new to my channel, just make sure you watch this little footage of what my life is in Cameroon. So I'm finally seated, guys. I had the fan on and it was blowing, but it was making a bit of noise. I don't have an AC in this office yet. This is my headmistress office. If you guys are new to my channel, yes, I do have a school, hence here at the office. Anyway, let me talk about the conversation. So I do know, let me just say it up front, I do know a YouTuber and he's an acquaintance of mine and we get along pretty well. Okay, I've been on his channel. He interviewed me a couple years ago, I think so, and his channel is all about immigration to Canada, and he's Cameroonian he's Cameroonian. This is a conversation that really brings up two sides, right? Because one side is talking about why is it that we are, advocating for Africans to leave Africa, to venture to America, to Europe, and we're not, advocating for them to remain in Africa. And then you have another side who's like, please, everybody should stay in Africa. Everybody should come back to Africa. And I think I'm somewhere in the middle, right? Like, as much as, guys, I'm not going to be the person who's going to tell you, don't leave Africa, wherever you are in Africa, okay? I think it all depends what your circumstances are, like what you're currently living. For example, if you're making a good living in Africa, you're making more than enough money to sustain your lifestyle, I don't know. I really don't know, because I know people here in Cameroon, for example, that were doctors, they were professors, and then they went to the US, and then they started by doing the little bitty jobs, which is like cleaning job, working in healthcare systems, but as maybe like in, how they call that, the retirement homes, right? They work like in retirement homes, and some of them did not go back to school to get that same degree that they had in Cameroon, in Africa, right? And some of them did. I also wanted to add this, everyone's star is going to shine at different times. There are people who are really struggling living abroad that nobody is talking about, and they just look at this picture perfect that I'm showing you guys on this scene, on people going on vacation, living the best life, when the everyday life is not that. It's like, you're working days and night, whether it's cold, it's hot, it's whatever, and you have to pay the bills and nobody is there to save you. I know somebody who was a professor, and then he went to the US and he worked the little jobs, and then he was able to now fund his own, studies. It took him a lot of years, maybe 10 years, to get that first master degree, because I think he was already a professor, guys. He wasn't going to start over with the bachelor degrees, but he started with the master degree. And then after the master degree, I don't know if he continued. Just like I also know people who were not able to go back to school in the US or in Europe, right? Because school in the US, I don't know about Europe, but in the US, because that's where I schooled, you know, my university years, my bachelor, my MBA, that's why I did that. Why is the lighting so, goodness, so light. One thing that I'm gonna tell you is that school is really expensive in the US, so I do understand when, like if you do not come from a wealthy family, the likelihood of you moving to America and continuing your education is going to be tough because school is really expensive. And I saw many people when I was undergrad, you know, I had just left Cameroon back in 2007. I saw many people that started university like me, but they were not able to finish because the parents didn't have enough money. So it's really one of those things that I would say my experience schooling in the US has allowed me to become the woman that I am today. Okay? I'm not gonna say, guys, leave. No, everything depends on your circumstances. I was a child that did not like school in Cameroon, okay? I hated school. Let me just tell you, I hated school to the core. I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be an artist, I wanted to be many things, but I hated school. The irony is that years later, I own a school, which is so funny, right? Like the country that actually shaped me, that raised me, Cameroon, made me hate school. But when I decided to come back to Cameroon and invest, one of my businesses was, you know, a school, which is, you know, another story for another day. But I hated school. And I think if I had not moved outside of Cameroon and venture, I don't know if it would have been the same with Europe, but I'm just talking about my experience because I don't know the alternative, right? I don't know that I would have continued with university, getting a bachelor, getting an MBA, and starting my own businesses and working in corporate America. Like, I don't know if I would have had the life that I have today. I'm not gonna front, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because I hated school when I was here. And I think if I had stayed in Cameroon, I don't know, right? We're just making assumptions here, but I would have probably ended up being married to some guy, having kids, and so forth. I don't think I would have been like, even though I was ambitious, but I just felt like the system in Cameroon did not allow me to grasp the material, right? And then everybody judge you based, when you're a child, they judge you based on how good you do in school. And I wasn't doing that good. I was like a decent, like a C student, okay? I wasn't that bad. Like I would pass my classes, but I was really a C student. And my dad is a genius, and he felt like, you know, I wasn't smart enough. And many, not just him, but many people felt like I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't dumb, but I wasn't smart enough. So that is, guys, I have one of the technicians working there, so if I'm looking this way, it's because I'm waiting for him to finish up so that I can close the school. Everybody's gone. Today's Friday, everybody's gone. But yeah, so I don't know if I would have made it, right? The way, like the life that I have today and the flexibility that I have, being in the US at some point, being in Europe and traveling around the world and then coming to Cameroon and investing, and I don't know if that I would have been that same woman today. Years later, I don't think I would have been the same woman. Now, that being said, I might want to advocate for Cameroonians or Africans in general to leave Africa. I think my answer to this question is going to be a yes and no. The only reason I will say I do not advocate for Africans to leave Africa is really because on the ground we already have so many issues, and running away from them will not solve or will not improve our circumstances. There needs to be a certain population that will still remain on the ground to keep us going, to keep us moving ahead. Because if everybody leaves Africa, then who is going to be managing and who is going to be making sure that we move forward? Nobody. So as much as we want to run away from our problems that we already have on the ground, it's really important to have people who know the challenges. They know which door to knock on in order to get those issues solved. From my personal experience, if I didn't have people, family on the ground who understand the culture and the environment, I would have not been able to operate a business here. Like, let's say you want to further your education, and then later on you want to come back to Africa and invest, then yeah, you know, because I think the beauty in traveling outside of your own country is that you discover, it kind of opens your horizons. You see things that you didn't know were possible. You see people inspire, okay? And I think when I went in the US, I saw many people who inspired me. The definition of being a strong woman, an entrepreneur, you know, I don't know, however you want to call it, a leader. I think I understood that when I went to the US and I studied some people, or I came across, you know, some people. And even though some of these people were celebrities, but I think that exposure opened my mind to dreaming more, to wanting more, to desiring more. And that is a beautiful thing. So I would never, the sun just left us, which is fine. I would never shame YouTubers that talk about immigration to Canada or immigration elsewhere in the world. Many of the YouTubers making those type of content is really because they want to give an opportunity to other people to also expand the horizon, the experiences. And who knows, maybe come back later and do something bigger and better in Africa. What we're currently experiencing here in Cameroon is that you have people who have degrees, right? Many of the people who have degrees are taxi drivers. They sell in the marketplace. They barely have jobs, or maybe they have little admin jobs that pay peanuts, right? And those are people who have master degrees, PhDs. You also have doctors, right, who are not even getting paid enough to sustain a decent lifestyle, but they do provide a service. And that's why when you see in the medical system, for example, how doctors, you know, like the medical, you know, personnel treat patients. Like, if you don't have the money, you're not going to get any care. I think it also comes with the frustration of being in a system that do not value them as much, because valuing somebody, a professional, means that you paying the person accordingly, okay? And I think many of the doctors of people in the medical systems are not being appreciated financially as well, okay? Because you can say beautiful words, doesn't mean the person can actually pay their own bills at home. And even though being a doctor or being in any medical, you know, profession is a calling, I believe that it should be a calling. It's not just a job, it's a calling, because there are some people who really want to do good in this world, and they're going to, I want to become a nurse, I want to become a doctor. But when you have a system, a government that do not actually ensure that those people are, you know, I don't know, that they're good, you know, financially, mentally, and all of these things. And sometimes even the finances, they can work with the finances, but it's the equipment that they don't have, okay? They don't have the facility, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the support that they need in order to provide the services they're supposed to provide. So it makes it difficult, right? Now, let's take somebody like that and tell the person, stay in Cameroon and give a mediocre service to people, or go abroad, further your education, you know, still remain in the same line of work, right? Like in the medical profession. And later on, when you have the finances, when you have all the accolades, you know, you have the experience, now you can come back and open your own clinic. I think that's beautiful, because unfortunately, as much as we want to sugarcoat the thing, sometimes it's tough being in Cameroon. And there's a lot of factors that go into, should I stay in Africa or should I leave Africa, right? And I think if you, like me, that leaving Africa meant becoming a better version of yourself, but then coming back to Africa to invest, I think that's a beautiful thing. That being said, there are also many Africans who are leaving Africa and they have no intention of coming back, and that's also okay, okay? Like, I don't want to make it sound like your purpose to leave is that you're supposed to come back to Africa. No, you don't have to. You don't have to. You can just stay wherever you are and live a beautiful life, okay? You don't have to. But for some of us who have been called to give back to our communities, I think it's really beautiful. Now, after I've chatted about the whole thing, I feel like I haven't answered the question, which is, what do I think of YouTubers making those type of content? I think they're giving people the opportunity to know le pour et le contre, okay? Like, should I go for it or should I just remain where I am? And they give people the tools and the knowledge that they need in order to actually think about the immigration in Canada, the immigration in Europe, the immigration in the US, and so forth. I think sometimes we need people like that. Like, even though I advocate for people who should come back to Africa, I think it's also important because many people who want to venture, outside don't have those information. So if you can see somebody who's going to give you the right information and give you, like, just absorb the right knowledge, guys. The sun is just doing a number on me. So if I'm going white because of the saturation, my bad. I feel like it's going to be raining as well. But I hope that answered that question of what do I think of the diaspora, talking about people should go to Canada or go to whatever. That's what I think. I think it all depends on everyone, and you do what makes you feel good, okay? You do what you like, what makes you feel good, and how you fit. How it fits your boat. Like, are people really paying your bills? No. So if you want to leave, you leave. If you want to stay, you stay. So guys, I'm gonna head out. If I do not answer all the questions or all the things, just know that I'm distracted. So I'm gonna catch you guys in the next vlog. Okay? Bye.